Hey guys, welcome to another Tuesday edition of the Vinyl Den, your channel for record collecting by record collectors. My name is Nick. So it's Tuesday, it's time to talk about some new releases. For this Friday, August 5th, you got a little over 320 titles coming out. I got 18 albums I'm going to talk about today though. There's a bunch of links down below, so make sure you go check them out. There's links for the Vinyl Den Facebook group, another one for the merch page. We got links for the Spotify and Apple Music weekly playlist there down there. And there's also a link for the Patreon page. But of course, if you enjoyed the episode, make sure you give me a thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button down below. Make sure you hit that notification bell so you're notified every time I release new episodes. Like I said at the beginning of the episode, a little over 320 titles coming out this week. I'm going to talk about 18 of them, which seems like a lot, so I'm going to kind of burn through some of these pretty quick. But if there's something that I don't talk about in the episode today, make sure you drop me a comment down below. Let me know what else you're looking forward to this week. Sometimes I do miss some releases, so let me know what else is coming out. I will say that if you're unable to find any of these albums in your store, there's also going to be links down below for all these albums if you want to pick them up online. So make sure you check all those out. Like I said, I'm going to kind of burn through some of these. This first one, this is Aaliyah, 1 in a Million. This was her second studio album. It was released back in 1996. And I think this is the first, I don't remember what the name of her first album was, but I think this was the first album I remember listening to. Aaliyah made some great music in that late 90s period. And this is going to be a pretty cheap one to pick up. It's going to be $24 online. I think they have reissued some of Aaliyah's other albums. They've sold pretty good, so I expect that one to be a good seller there. This next one is one that might kind of surprise some of you out there, but this is Bee Gees' Spicks and Specks. This was the Bee Gees' second studio album. It was released back in 1966, and this was originally released under Monday's Rain is what the title was. And then the song Spicks and Specks got some solid airplay. I don't think it was ever like a big hit, but it was big enough that they actually retitled the name of this album. It's going to be released on white vinyl. I will say that, so it is $20 online, not a bad price either, but I will say that if you are unfamiliar with this early period in the Bee Gees, and really all you know is their stuff from the mid to late 70s, definitely go back and check out early Bee Gees albums, because they're absolutely fantastic. As I would say, it's like I don't want to say soft rock, but it was kind of like a more acoustic, kind of softer, like some of the stuff that the Beatles were kind of doing in the mid-60s period. I would I think the Bee Gees kind of go along with a lot of other stuff, but I would definitely say, like I said, if you haven't checked them out, definitely make sure you go back, check out some of that early Bee Gees stuff. Another album is getting reissued this week. This is Def Leppard, Euphoria. This was released back in 1999, and it, I think was really the only big track that was off this album. I was never a huge fan of this album, but I think this is like the last, as far as like Def Leppard albums go, this is the last one that I kind of liked. Pretty much all the stuff that they released after that, I never really could get into. This is going to run you $32 online though, so if you don't have a copy of Euphoria, it's definitely a good one to grab. If you're a big David Bowie fan, this week is going to be a big week for you because there are 6 David Bowie albums coming out this Friday. So the first one, you got David Bowie, Black Tie, White Noise. This was David's 18th studio album, released back in 1993. It's going to run you $35. I will say that this is all from, these are all 90s albums, for the most part, with the exception of one. That I never really got into any of David Bowie's stuff past, I don't think I listened to really any of his, I think, I'll take that back. There was one 90s album that I listened to. I don't think I've listened to any of these other ones, but, so like I said, you get Black Tie, White Noise. You've also got Buddha of Suburbia, which was his 19th studio album. It was released back in 1993. It's going to run you $33 online. You also got One, which was his 20th studio album. It was released back in 1995. It's going to run you $35. They're also reissuing Earthling, which was released back in 1997. It was his 21st album. That was going to run you about $30 online. I will say that was the exception of this 6-album pack, I guess, whatever you want to call it. But Earthling was definitely an album that I really loved. I think it was kind of, let's say it was released in 97, so it was like my senior year in high school. I remember this album being kind of big when it came out, and I really do like that album. I think Earthling has been reissued several times. I know recently, because I just saw it at the record store, I want to say within the last 5 or 6 months. So Yeah, so that's coming out. If you don't have a copy of Earthling, make sure you check that one out. You got Hours, which was released back in 1999. It's going to run you $35 online. And then the sixth album is one that doesn't kind of go along with the other ones. This was Toy, which was released back in January this year. So it was the first album that was released after David Bowie's death in 2016. I feel like I think Toy's been really pretty easily available. I actually just saw it at the record store this morning when I was there. So, I'm not sure why they're releasing more copies of it, but if you are looking for a copy of Toy, it's going to run you about $35 online. This week, you've also got Echo and the Bunnymen live in Liverpool being released. This is a double LP. It was recorded over 2 nights in August 2001 in Liverpool. It's running $42 online. Echo and the Bunnymen is another one of those bands that I never really got into back in the day, and it's really been within the last probably year and a half that I really kind of started digging through some of their stuff. So that's definitely a cool one. And then this next one is one that I kind of feel bad for record stores on this one, and really music fans also, because I don't like the way that this album was rolled out. But this is Tool, Fear Inoculum. This is the 3 LP release. So, and it's going to run you $54 online. So I think it was last year, beginning part of this year, the Fear Inoculum set was released. I want to say it was 6 albums. And, I was actually just at my record store this morning, and they still have copies of that box set. They've got it clearance down to, I think, $120. I think they're going to have a hard time selling them, though. I think it's kind of the way a lot of record stores over the country have probably are on the same boat with this, because I pay $120 when you get the 3 LP release for $54. And, there's a lot of music fans out there that love this album that are kind of feeling the same way, that Tool really almost ripped them off with selling this big 6 LP box set for triple the cost of what this 3 album set is going to be, and then release it just months apart. Like I said, I really don't like the way that Tool rolled that out, and hopefully kind of moving forward we don't see more of that happening. The next album is one that I'm familiar with the band. I'm not really familiar with this album though, but this is Lamb of God, Sacrament. This was originally released back in 2006, and it's an album that Redneck was kind of a big-ish kind of hit off this album. I know it won the Grammy, or maybe it was nominated for the Grammy for Best Metal Performance that year. So like I said, I'm familiar with Lamb of God. I'm not familiar with that album though. It's going to run $35 online. It's definitely one I kind of go back and forth on some of the Lamb of God stuff. I'm not a huge metal fan, but I do like a couple of their tracks. I definitely need to go back and stream that one though. And then you've also got Neil Young and Promise of the Real releasing Noise and Flowers this week. So that one's going to run you $30 online. This is a 2 LP set. It's a live album from back in 2019 as part of their European tour. So this week you've also got Paul McCartney releasing the McCartney box set, which is McCartney 1, 2, and 3, which were released back in 1970, 1980, and 2020. It comes with a limited edition photo print, and comes all with a slipcase box, which I'm sure looks kind of cool. It's going to run you $90 though. I don't have any of the 3 McCartney albums, so it's definitely one that maybe $90 is a little steep for me. I guess not though. I guess it's 3 albums, so $30 an album probably isn't too bad of a price. But if I can get that for a little cheaper, I'll consider picking that one up, because I'm not a huge fan of a lot of Paul McCartney's solo stuff. But at least McCartney 2 and 3 I've listened to within the last year or so. Well, I guess probably since McCartney 3 came out, I streamed both of those. And they're actually really good albums. McCartney 1 I probably haven't listened to in 20 plus years. So I definitely should kind of revisit that one also. This next album was one that I was kind of surprised by. I didn't even know that they were working on anything. But this is a new Primus album. This is Conspiranoid. It's going to be on white vinyl. This is Primus's first album of entirely new music in over a decade. So definitely one that I'm interested in checking out. There's only 3 tracks on this thing though, and Conspiranoia is the only track I know I've seen listed anywhere, and it's listed over 12 minutes. So I don't know if the other 2 tracks are 10 plus minute tracks also, and kind of making up a whole 30 plus minute album or so. I'm not really sure. I haven't seen a whole lot about this. Primus, though, I was a big Primus fan. A lot of this stuff back in the 90s was absolutely fantastic. So I'm definitely interested in grabbing that one. Soul Asylum is one of those bands I really need to kind of go back and revisit a lot of their stuff, because I listened to some of their like 90s stuff, the really popular stuff in the 90s that they had, but then I haven't really listened to anything since then. So this week you got a reissue of The Silver Lining coming out. It was Soul Asylum's 9th studio album. It was released back in 2006. It's only $36 online. It's not a terrible price, I guess. And The Silver Lining ended an 8-year hiatus for the band. So, I like I said, I definitely need to go back and stream those. I know Stand Up and Be Strong was kind of a big hit that they had off this album. It's actually the only song I remember hearing off this album. And the only reason I know it is because ESPN used it, I think, on some of their like college football promos that year. And Prince, I haven't heard the Prince version, but there's a version that Prince did that's on Coming to America. So, if you've got Coming to America by Prince, you've heard a version of that song. But, it's, like I said, $36, not a bad price, but I definitely need to go back and stream that one and check it out. This last one, though, you finally made it to album number 18 on the list today. But this is Thin Lizzy, Black Rose, a rock legend. This was Thin Lizzy's 9th studio album. It was released back in 1979. It peaked at number 2 in the UK on their charts. And it's probably my favorite Thin Lizzy album, even though I'm not a huge fan of the band. I think it's probably the only Thin Lizzy album I've ever owned. So it's only $36. It's if you don't have a version or a copy of that album, it's definitely a great one to grab. I'm sure Thin Lizzy, you can probably get an original pressing for probably a lot less than that, $36. But I'll definitely keep my eye out on that one. Well, that's all I got for you today, guys. Thanks for checking the show out. Like I said, there's a bunch of albums coming out, a bunch of great stuff coming out this week. I'm definitely looking forward to, I'll probably pick up maybe one or two of those Bowie albums. Aaliyah for sure. Maybe that McCartney box set, we'll see. I don't have Fear Inoculum on vinyl because I wasn't going to pay the $150 or so. So I might grab that 3 LP set also. But drop me a comment down below. Let me know what you guys are looking forward to. Let me know what else I missed also, if there is something big out there I didn't talk about. If you enjoyed the episode, though, make sure you give me a thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button down below. And that's all I got. Until next time, keep on spinning. Peace.